Hey buddy, can I borrow your car? No, not just any car. I want to borrow the Lamborghini. So anyone out there with a Lamborghini, can I borrow your car? Like, I just want to go out there and drive it around and look like I'm cool. Because, well, Lamborghinis are cool, so obviously if I'm driving a Lamborghini, it's going to reflect on me and it's going to make me look cool, right? No? What? That's not how it works? You mean I have to actually work on myself? That I can't just borrow your Lamborghini and go and become this really, really cool, awesome, fantastically successful person? Interesting. Good morning, champs. I'm Josh Zeppis, and I'm the identity archaeologist. And I'm talking to you solopreneurs out there, the ones that are borrowing brands. And how do you know if you're borrowing a brand? Well, if you're working for a platform or a system and you've got a brand back behind you. And I used to do the same. So maybe you've got a State Farm, an Allstate, a Remax, Century 21. Maybe you're using a John Maxwell program or a Bob Proctor coaching program, and you've got this nice, beautiful brand behind you. Like, yes, I found it. So they're credible. They're a good company. I'm just gonna, they're well known. I'm just gonna latch on to their brand, and I'm gonna hitch a ride to success. Well, yeah. There's a couple issues with that, a couple of challenges with that I want to talk to you about today. First of all, that's a great brand, absolutely. All those things are wonderful companies, but it's not you. You see, we're under this misconception that people buy our products and services, but they don't. They buy us first. And then after we close the deal on ourselves, after they like us, now they will take a look at our products and services, and if it's appropriate, they will become a client. So it's not the product or service that pulls people in, it's us. We are that front-facing person. So what is our brand, right? And here, I'll even go a little deeper. Let's say you do have an amazing product and service. Let's say you've got a platform that's just unbelievable. It almost like stands on its own. It's so fantastic. Then what are you doing? What are you doing? Are you just an order taker? Because obviously, if it's so wonderful on its own, they don't need you. You could put anyone there. So here's the question. You've got an awesome brand. You're working for an Allstate. You're working for a big brand behind you. Morgan Stanley, whatever. Why should someone buy from you? Why not the other Morgan Stanley person down the street, or the one down the street from them, or the one right over there, or the one in my family, or the one... Why you? Bingo. That's a tough question to answer. So here's the key. You've got this wonderful brand behind you, this big, awesome, fantastic company and system, products and services you're using. That's your credibility. That's it. It is not your brand. That's your credibility. That's what helps you run that system properly. But if you actually want to attract people, if you're using that for your brand also, I promise you're leaving money on the table. You're leaving profits. Your conversations are sterile. Hi, I'm Jake from State Farm. Can I interest you in insurance? That's the kind of stuff we say when we identify with someone that's not us, when we identify with the bigger brand. Use the brand for credibility. Use it for credibility, absolutely. But you got to have your own personal brand that positions you different from every other State Farm agent and every other insurance agent outside of State Farm. Because if not, you're going to be in the sea of sameness. And that's a really, really tough place to compete. And I'll give you one last little gem on what would happen if you do create a personal brand. Imagine you have your own personal brand, but you're using State Farm as a credibility piece, as a system, which is a really good idea, let's say. What happens, and you're not going to like this, but what happens, I'm not even going to say if, what happens when you leave State Farm and you go to Allstate or Geico? Let's go to Allstate. You got to start over possibly, because your identity was tied to State Farm. You lost it. You were borrowing it. Remember, things we borrow, we don't own. So you were borrowing a brand. You lost it. You got fired. You left, whatever the case is. Now you're with Allstate. You've got to restart, and you've got to retie your identity. You've got to change your entire identity to a new brand. And then the obvious question is, what happens when you leave Allstate to go to the Geckos over there, right? the Tico Tacos. Start over again. And you're starting over, and you're starting over, and you're starting over. Now, I don't know about you, that's just not my favorite way to build businesses, is to have to keep restarting. But what if you had your own personal brand, where you were the brand, and you were just using State Farm as a back end, as a system, as a credibility piece? What happens when you go to Allstate? Nothing changes. Your back end changed, but guess what? That's not why people are doing business with you. That's not the reason they were becoming your clients anyways. They were becoming your clients because they believed in you. It was your brand they were buying. It was you, and the back end doesn't even matter. That's the power, not having to restart every time you move. So you solopreneurs out there, in fact, I call you platformpreneurs, and I mean that in a very loving way, that you are doing it in a way that you're using platforms. You're using systems behind you. You're not doing it by yourself. There's a lot of wisdom to that. But just don't tie yourself to that, because you're going to become basically like an employee at that point. You're going to have to go through the stress of borrowing a title, borrowing an income, borrowing a platform, and at the end of the day, you're not going to own anything. Get your own personal brand, something you own, build those assets, and go frickin' create an amazing business, an amazing life. So if you're one of those that wants to get out of the grind of business, grind of sales, and get into the flow of connection and profit, then I suggest we have a conversation. Love you all. Take care. Peace out, and meet you at the top, of course, because the bottom, way too crowded. Take care.